compared to Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand insofar as the maximum foreign ownership. You can see there only the Philippines has a maximum of 40%. Other countries are up to a maximum of 100% foreign equity participation. Also, in the manner of establishment, the Philippines allows incorporation and registration only up to 40%. And we also allow joint ventures and other modes of partnership under RA 11448 or the transnational education. In other countries, they can incorporate or register like any other corporations. In terms of incentives, the Philippines do not provide any incentives to foreign equity participation in educational institutions, unlike the other countries in the ASEAN. In terms of policy, as mentioned, we already have the Transnational Higher Education Act, or RA 11448, and we permit internationalization activities like student, faculty, and research mobility, program mobility like twinning arrangements or joint programs, and institutional mobility. But the establishment of offshore campuses are allowed provided that ownership follows the 60-40 local and foreign ownership ratio. Also, in terms of CHED administrative issuances, like the Department of Education, the CMO 40 series of 2008, or the Manual of Regulations for Private Higher Education of 2008, echoes the constitutional provisions on establishment and enrollment restrictions. Now, at this point, I'd like to present some possible barriers to internationalization as we consider extending or expanding the foreign equity participation by amending certain provisions in the Constitution. It is the committee and the Congress might find this also useful in examining some administrative issuances that may be barriers to internationalizations once we allow the foreign equity to increase in our educational institutions. One is in the area of governance. Control and administration of higher education institutions and basic education schools shall be vested in Filipino citizens. This is also provided in the Constitution and echoed and reiterated in CMO number 40 and DO 88 of CHED and DepEd respectively. Insofar as the operations, the ownership of school site, for example, and buildings as a requirement for government recognition of schools and higher education institutions should be revisited, probably to be relaxed. Also on regulation of setting of fees under CMO number 3 series of 2012, also the school calendar in higher education institutions and basic education schools prescribed by DepEd, and as provided in the current policy, relevant policy, any change by the higher education institution or basic education schools on the school calendar requires approval of the Commission on Higher Education and DepEd. Insofar as the curriculum is concerned, also the adherence to program standards and guidelines of the CHED is required. Textbooks are preferably written by Filipino authors, and adherence to library standards, which requires at least 10% Filipiniana resources under CMO number 22 series of 2021. Insofar as hiring of foreign faculty, the Philippines also provides for the grant of alien employment permit and 9G visa for foreign faculty. For basic education, it requires licensure examination for foreigners consistent with our LET law or Teachers Professionalization Act. And also the country of origin must permit Filipinos to teach, or in other words, there should be reciprocity requirement. In higher education, the faculty must be a holder of at least a master's degree to teach, mainly in his major field, and where applicable, a holder of appropriate professional license. Also, dual citizens must renounce their foreign citizenship to be able to teach in state universities and colleges as provided in our dual citizenship law. As compared to Malaysia and Singapore, their regulations on faculty, foreign faculty, is more relaxed. Finally, Mr. Chair and the Honorable Committee, for considerations are the following. There is a need, clearly there is a need to set government's vision and targets in opening up education to full foreign ownership, like the possibility of attracting faculty members in areas without local expertise, and increasing competition to improve quality, among others. If ever the government decides allowing foreign ownership is just the first step. This requires government incentives and policy adjustments from the DepEd and CHED, including our immigration and visa requirements, labor laws, even the PRC, to attract the best institutions to come in the country. Strengthening of capacity of the DepEd, CHED, and TESDA in its ability to regulate the entry of poor quality institutions and the use of research by industry. The opportunity to review government regulations in a way that enables quality institutions to thrive must also be considered in the review of the education provisions of our Constitution. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair, and we will be able to answer